Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Definitely excited to do this particular episode. Thank you for everybody for tuning in live, listening in. This is episode Structure Follows Trust Strategy, episode 762. Really excited to do this episode. It's kind of like a misnomer and something that people don't speak about because a lot of times people are just like, oh, I need to get in trust, or we get a lot of people that reach out to us at the vault and they say that they want to trust and they have a trust, but we're not going to go against the mentors and say, oh, the mentors say you can't have a trust if you don't have $5 million. Oh, you shouldn't have a trust if you don't have $10 million. Okay, we're not going to come at it from that perspective, but we are going to come at it from one of the perspectives one of our mentors shared with us, which is structure follows strategy. Trust structure follows trust strategy. And this is where you can turn into, if you guys are familiar with like American football, where they have different teams and some of them have systems. Like some of you guys maybe relate. Please forgive us for utilizing specific analogy that will give people to have the understanding to understand the context and what we're talking about. So in different sports, they have different coaching styles. Some coaches actually coach a bunch of different coaches, and then they end up being coaches in the league too. So you see variations of their coaching style, but it's still basically the same coaching style. So when you see same coaching strategy. So when you see this thing called the West Coast offense, or you see a running gun offense, or you see defense wins championships, that's a strategy first before they put the players into the system. The strategy came first. The coaching strategy came first. Then we put the pieces in place. We put the pillar on the defense. If we need a fast guy on defense, then that's part of the structure. He's a part of the foundation. If we put him there, he's going to be the anchor. She's going to be the anchor. Whatever you guys want to use, as far as men or women, whatever. But specifically, just understanding that there's strategy before there's trust structure. So we're going to talk about that here very briefly in this particular episode, because it is something that a lot of people are like, oh man, trust Christian, man, I don't really know. I'm in trust, but I don't know how to run it. The reason why you don't know how to run it is because you don't have a strategy. This is point blank period. It might be the hardest thing to hear today, but we can tell you for sure. Some people say, oh, trust Christian, you trying to tell me that the strategy don't come after I put the house together? Not at all. Why? Because the strategy dictates why we need the house. The strategy dictates the size of the house. The strategy dictates who's going to help build the house. The strategy dictates everything. Oh, what does that mean, trust Christian? You saying I don't need no trust, man, to protect my assets? I got a house. So what are you saying? We're saying you reach out for a strategy session, and we do a strategy session with you, and then we move you into what you're talking about. Because there's so many trustees that'll say, I want to learn it first. Yeah, for the ones that actually speak that language, we commend them, we pat them on the back, because they're focused on understanding what would be considered the strategy before they move into the structure. It's very important to understand the strategy before the structure, so we can know why we're doing what we're doing. This may be a hard pill to swallow because so many people want to be in trusteeship. I heard about it over the internet. I heard it's going to help me save some money. Okay, but what do you want? See, the way we were explained about strategy, a structure follow strategy, is you determine, or the trustee has goals that they are supposed to hit. Correct? Correct. And that will dictate what type of structure we use. Why? Because say we have to go into a pub in the public, and we have to do something in a regulated industry, something that requires licenses and things of that nature. These are things you have to take into account as a trustee. So it's not about, oh man, trust Christian, I'm in trusteeship, but the trust can't have a license, a medical license, or a certain type of license. The corporation can't have some type of license. So, trust Christian, how are we going to do that? Well, sometimes you might have to stand in as the person of the party of designation that's going to hold the licenses for the company. And then you get bonded, and then you create indemnities, because we now know we're speaking certain terms here. But This is the reality. When you're talking about, oh, I want to be in trusteeship, then you got to know the strategy. So once again, if the strategy says we're going to go into a specific field, if we're going to do a specific thing, then that will dictate whether we'll go into what you consider trusteeship, or whether we just go in traditional managership. Oh, I'm just going to go into a traditional manager. I'm going to be a traditional manager. I'm just going to manage a business. That's it. That's it. Bottom line. Oh, trust Christian, is that what it is? That's what it is. You got to make it a point to have a strategy. You come up with a strategy session. We talk to our trustees about this stuff all the time, about making it a point to get with the right people so you can come up with a strategy. Some people think the strategy ends. Y'all don't even want to know. Strategy definitely don't end. There's a pivot that comes sometimes, and you have to be nimble enough to understand that the structure can inhibit the strategy, but if the strategy is properly stated, then the structure is just one of many structures that the strategy may flow through. Strategy may dictate that there's businesses that are in the public that need to be protected. So now you can see why trusteeship will protect those things, because we see who owns it now. If it's not about asset protection, what is it about? But if it's about asset protection, and we talk about assets, sometimes assets are licenses. Sometimes the business can't operate without a license. That's not trust Christian, that's just the public. So when you're going into the public and acquiring public assets, acquiring cash flow, then there's a strategy that has to be put in place. Some people will call it a tax strategy, but we don't want to say it's just a tax strategy because that would have been limiting. Matter of fact, we'll put it there because that's what people want to hear. They like gimmicks and all this other stuff. We're just going to go ahead and tell y'all trust structure follows tax strategy. Of course, you got to have a strategy first. It's no, oh man, trust Christian. How do we get around it? Well, if you want, if you, whether y'all know it or not, if it's over 80 different types of trust, clearly that lets you know it's not about the structure. Y'all want to go there? It's not about the structure. How's it about the structure? It's 80 different types of trust. Which one was the right one? Let the attorney tell you. Then they gonna tell you. First of all, y'all gotta understand. This like the attorneys. No indictment. It is what it is. Oh man, the attorneys are like used car salesmen. Oh yeah, you should be in a living trust. Oh yeah, you should be in a land trust. Oh yeah, you should be in a charitable remainder trust. They got y'all in 3 different trusts just there alone. Whether y'all know it or not, these are structures. These are vehicles. Do all of them do the same thing? Clearly they don't. But they got you loaded up on 3 cars in your driveway. Who you think's gonna maintain those vehicles? You are. So the strategy has to come before the structure. Otherwise, these guys will just sell you a new car. Oh man, we didn't know you need a pickup truck so you can haul stuff too. What are we talking about here? Are you picking up stuff that you need to haul? All right, then yeah, we need to get a vehicle that can haul stuff a certain weight. We understand that we're utilizing analogies, but that's the way the information was shared with us. So when people want to sit here and talk about, oh man, what's my tax strategy? What's my liability strategy? Well, clearly, your strategy is what's going to dictate what type of vehicle we need. If your strategy is, oh man, I'm just going to have only one person in the car with me, why do we need more than two doors? Why do we need a back seat? Why don't we be a little bit more patient in selecting the car so we can find out the best vehicle? Oh, trust Christian, would you try to say it's not a one size fit all? First of all, no, it's not. From the public side, let them tell you why. Because they're telling you should have a land trust for land. They tell you to have a living trust for while you still living. They tell you to go get a charitable remainder trust. What else they tell you how to go get out here? Simple trust. What else do they tell you to get? They try to a spendthrift, generational skipping. Y'all want to talk? Let's talk. First of all, think about what the term of the trust is. It's called a generational skipping tax trust. Now let's think about this. Clearly somebody created a strategy that they wanted to skip a generation for taxes. If that sounds smart to you, have fun with that thought. But it doesn't sound too smart to trust Christian and Vault. Why? Because there are other trusts you could just hop in and not get in that. But it's almost like, oh man, I'm in this country and these are the only cars they have available to me. So I got into a generational skipping tax trust or whatever that is. Why? Because that's what the lawyer sold me and that's the only one they talked about. Y'all don't even know how many trustees come to the vault and say that. Oh man, this attorney sold me this. Yeah, how many times has somebody sold individuals trust? They come on a lot. Trust Christian, I ain't got no strategy. I got sold I got sold trust. I got sold something. I got sold the structures, but I don't know the strategy and the flow. Ain't that what they say? I don't know the flow, trust Christian. Then we get into the fact that the strategy comes before the structure. You think these people would stop fooling with these people? Nah, they go right back to the used car salesman. Why wouldn't they? Well, trust Christian, I didn't know they were hiding information. I should go back and find out how much more information they're hiding. What are you talking about? They're in the public. They're utilizing controlled information. What more could you expect? You don't even want to hear these people can't protect the trust or you if something happens to it. How many of y'all have interviewed the attorney that set it up? Anybody that set up the structure for you, asked them have they ever had an issue with it? Oh, trust Christian, you ever had an issue? We actually deal with the right families? No. Do we know how to deal with it? We have people on our team that do. We have enrolled agents. We have an episode with an enrolled agent. If y'all can do your own research on what an enrolled agent is, this is clearly somebody that can help you out individually and as well as family estate. So do you associate with those people? Are you associated with somebody that can actually make it a point to help you get that done? Let's talk about it. Is that the case? Do you have someone that literally understands the strategy, can sit there and say, okay, let's talk strategy. Where do you want to go with this? See, what people don't really want to hear, the reality is most people are closed-minded on the public side. So when you run into the attorneys or the accountants, why they saying y'all loving those specific entities? Oh, cause what they tell, we done had trustees come on a line and tell us, attorneys done told them, oh yeah, we're not gonna charge you full price. We're gonna charge you. You can't afford that anyways. You can't afford a private trust, so we might as well put you in a little living trust. Matter of fact, think about this: the attorneys, they're supposed to be counsel, right? Right? How they counsel? They're not counsel most of the time. They over here telling you what your family estate's supposed to do. They telling you your strategy instead of you telling them the strategy and them appropriating the proper vehicle. But instead, they'll tell you, oh yeah, you don't need a trust. Just get a will. Now we done did episodes on here. Tax strategy dictates the trust structure. We could say, well, we could take out the trust and just put the structure in general. The structure is supposed to follow the strategy. So once again, think about it. The structure is a contract. The structure is a will. Why do they propose to get you a will over the tax strategy? Because they want your money. They want your money. And what do you think they're going to collect more money with? The attorneys. Are they going to collect money through the will while your assets are going through probate? Or and then we're going to really bust them down. Or in the public trust, where yeah, you may not have a family member to manage it, so they're going to be the trustee of the estate. Hopefully they don't steal, and if they do steal, who in your family is going to enforce them from the fact that they're stealing or didn't do their job? Oh, trust Christian, who are we talking about here? Okay. Why would an attorney tell you to go into a private trust where your family estate is not going to be in a public courtroom when it comes to transferring of the assets from one generation to the next? Oh no, trust Christian, you didn't say that to the public people. That's what the attorneys would say. We just went against their whole lifestyle. Trust Christian, everybody shouldn't be in trust. They should be in a will. Why? So they can go into probate? So the court system can make money off them? So you can make money off them? Y'all want to know how much? Google how much money the attorney's making off of you in a will. But they still recommend it. And then think about the difference. Oh, Judge Christian, I thought it was based off the tax strategy. Well, if it's to pass along assets from one generation to the next, which is to get around what y'all call the estate tax or the inheritance tax, right? Why would you put it in the will? Do you know the laws for that? Did the attorney share that with you? Did they tell you the tax benefits of the will over the trust? Did they share that with you? Did they share the strategy first? Or did they just, oh man, you can't afford that trust. You ain't got $8,000. You ain't got $10,000 press. So we just gonna go ahead and put you in a little $200-300 less than $1,000 will. And that's the difference. People falling for that. They falling for, oh, trust Christian, you know, they sold us a structure, they sold us some trust, but we don't know how to run the strategy. Right? You gotta invest in the education so you can learn the strategy. A strategy that works for you. What are your goals? Let's talk about it. What are your goals? That's what it is. That's what it is. What are your goals? What's your time frames? That's just bottom line. Oh man, I trust Christian. That'll dictate everything. When are you looking to be in a position that you say you looking to be? I want to lower this. I want to avoid this. Well, okay, when do you want to get that done? That dictates the speed at which we're going to have to work. That dictates the vehicle. That dictates the vehicle. The strategy is going to dictate the structure. Maybe you do it by yourself, maybe you don't. Because the strategy dictates the structure. So we just go ahead and offer this out to the trustees, people that are listening. A lot of people reach out, oh, Trust Christian, I'm trying to get in trusteeship. I just want to manage my lifestyle. I want to manage my assets. I want to be private. Ain't that what they say? I want to be private. Okay, so private is the strategy. Right. So then what is the structure? Oh, man, Trust Christian, I don't even know how to trust this private. You know how many trustees come on the line talking about they got a private trust and cannot tell you how? Because they don't understand the strategy. The attorney is supposed to share with you the entity that allows you to implement the strategy. Most of them don't even know the entity. Oh man, I don't know what type of trust it is. Then they go back to them. Oh yeah, they said they could write the contract over again. Are you serious? It's just like, man, so many people get fooled by this stuff in the public, and we have no problem with saying it. Oh man, Trust Christian, you just gonna expose it like that? Yeah, because we've had people come through. We got the emails to show it. We have the conversations to show it. Oh, yeah, the attorney, they didn't really do what I asked them to do. They created a trust, but I don't even know what type of trust it is. Exactly. We know you don't know what type of trust it is. Why would you know what type of trust it is? You would think they know what type of trust it is, for sure. Why? Because it's a thing that they're managing. They took the car off the lot, and now all of a sudden they don't know what type of car that they're driving. Really? Y'all talked about it, but we talking about it very specifically. Yes, they don't know what type of car they're driving. Oh, I know it's a trust. I don't know the difference on what type of trust it is. We take them to the forms that they gonna have to end up filling out for it. They say, oh, Trust Christian, the attorney didn't send this to me. The accountant, the person who set me up didn't send this to me. Why would they? They want to drive you around. They want to manage your assets after you go. That's just the facts. But sooner you realize that, the sooner you can say, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. How many of y'all are going to have your family member actually succeed you in trusteeship, or are you going to have an attorney succeed you in trusteeship? A lot of people don't want to hear. They're going to blame the attorney. They're going to give the responsibility away to the attorney, or by default, the individual set it up, or trustee or attorney, excuse me, not trustee, the attorney or the person set it up, they by default are going to take over the assets for your beneficiaries, or the beneficiaries that you're managing assets for. We address this immediately in trusteeship. Who's going to be your successor? Oh man, George Christian, who's going to be my successor? Who's going to be your successor? Is that what you're planning on doing? Everybody talk about, I'm setting up generational wealth. Man, you ain't setting up no generational wealth. You over here trying to put your family. Whose hands is the money in? Is it in trusted hands? We don't even know, Trust Christian. I don't know where the money gonna go right now. I'm just focused on building it and holding on to it. I haven't even thought about that. I haven't ever took the 5 to 10 minutes, the day that it takes to actually say, you know what? If something happens to me today or anyone on the board, we have additional people that we know that are going to be successful managing this as well, and we can trust them, and we know that they're not going to squander it. How many people have those people? Oh man, I don't. Right. Because you have to find a strategy. And this is where it's challenging for some. Why? Because you got to do some thinking. Oh man, Trust Christian, I got to come up with a strategy. Everybody want to sit here and say they want to do passing along some generational wealth. And they ain't got no strategy. What is your strategy? You think you're going to build generational wealth? You think you're going to pass along some generational wealth? Um, Working a job? Y'all don't want to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We got to be honest with you because a lot of trustees out here, they think, oh, I'm in trusteeship and I'm building generational wealth because I got a house. Well, does the house have a mortgage on it? And not only that, for the ones that want to come at with Trust Christian with this type of mentality, we in the public, we understand the conversation that we're having. First of all, it doesn't matter if you think you own the house or the title or the deed. You still have to pay property taxes. And if you don't know, that's fine. But the ones of you all that do know, property taxes are still something that they try to appropriate to the property owner after the property is owned. It doesn't matter if you spent 30 years paying it and you gave them property tax. They still want you to pay property tax. So guess what? If you miss a year of property tax, which is a small number, it goes up supposedly every year. So if you miss a year of property tax, maybe two, they put a lien on the property. They sell the property for a tax lien. That's how fast your family estate goes. 30 years. Because you missed a $5,000 payment. Oh, we didn't know. I was in there. I didn't know. No one told me I had to pay the $7,000. You got to pay property tax. So how is that justified? It's not justified. Tax strategy says, okay, I want to eliminate the liability on these properties that I'm passing along to my successors or to my family. And the tax, the obviously the property tax liability is truly that. It's just a liability. We're not hating on it or anything. It's the reality. We're not saying you shouldn't pay it. We're not saying any of that. What we are saying is, if you don't pay it, that they're gonna put a daggone lien on the property, and that's just public record. The question is how long it's gonna take before they put a lien on the property. So when the family members think they passing along property that doesn't have a mortgage on it, they're still passing on the property that has a tax liability associated with it. So there is a cost to actually managing the property. It is a cost for the family to have the property, to even own the property in the family estate or otherwise. But the trust structure follows a tax strategy. The strategy would tell you what type of trust you need to be in. All right, I'm gonna go into a land trust. What you going into a land trust for? What's that different than any of the other ones? I couldn't tell you that, but I know I live in a land trust state. Trust Christian, I live in a land trust state, so I gotta do what I gotta get a land trust. What happens when you're not in what you think is a land trust state? We already know all the states are. Why? Because all of them allow trust. They don't want to say that in the public. Why would they say that in the public? There are some states that have came outright and said, oh yeah, we're big fans of land trust and the laws in that state are favored for land and assets. But that doesn't mean that the other states that didn't say it out loud are not land trust states. What does that mean? You can't buy you can't buy land in a trust there? Think about the title alone. It's a land trust. Well, can a living trust hold land? Yeah. Can a charitable remainder trust hold land? Yeah. Are there restrictions on those things? Sure. So let's find out what's the distinction or the difference. The strategy will tell us what type of structure we need to be in, what type of vehicle we need to be in. Oh no, Trust Christian. Ain't no way, man. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. We already know it ain't no way for you. But if you understand, hey, Trust Christian, I gotta think outside the box. I've been thinking outside the box. I've been thinking about some of the stuff you're talking about. I went over some of the stuff with my attorney. They still haven't answered these questions. I actually want you to get online with my attorney so we can go over this. That's what we do at the Vault. We have those consultations. We done burned up a few attorneys and got a few attorneys fired. We got what you think? You think somebody wants to bring in Trust Christian and fire their attorneys and their accounts that they've been working with for 10 years? Y'all don't even want to know how painful it is for people to get on the line and say that. Oh man, Trust Christian, I need you to convince my team. Nah, we ain't convincing your team. They the one keeping you paying the situation and doing what you're doing. You're supposed to get on the line with somebody that's open-minded, that can talk the strategy, propose a new thought process, and you as the leader, you as the senior trustee, you as the leader of the family estate have to make an executive decision. But how many people know how to make executive decisions? You gotta make an executive decision. We ain't here to sell your team. We're not here to sell your attorneys. You know how many attorneys try to steal information from the vault? Y'all don't want to know. The attorneys steal information from the vault. Because if they was executing it, why they don't have a podcast talking about it? Why aren't they talking about some of the things that we talk about? Because they're attorneys. They're just trying to sell you a car. It's like a used car salesman. They just want to sell you a car. Are you going to pay them a retainer to stay on staff and be the senior trustee? Are you going to pay them on staff to be a board of trustee? Are you going to pay them to be an advisor? Do you have assets that they can get equity in? Maybe their family estate can get in. Do you know these type of things to give them a reason for them not to treat you? Which man, they know it. Y'all can figure out what y'all want. We understand. If that's their life, their livelihood, yeah, you're a client. Bottom line, you're a client. You're not family. You're not a friend. You're a client. There's an attorney-client privilege. That's how they speak. Trust Christian understands, and the vault understands there's a business management consulting component to all of it. Why? Because we don't just consult you on trusteeship. We don't just consult you on charity. We don't just consult you on the private side. We can consult you on the public side. We can consult you on LLCs and C Corps. Everybody comes, oh man, I got an S Corp. The attorney or the accountant put me in S Corp. Y'all don't even want to know. These guys, people will put them in a daggone, an attorney will put you, or excuse me, the accountant will put you in an S Corp and then tell you you can't change it. What are you talking about? If something changed, you need to put people on notice. That's the rules. You put people on notice. Some things have changed. Did you put them on notice though? Well, Trust Christian, they said I couldn't do that in the middle of the year. So if you brought on a new business partner because someone bought into the company, are you not supposed to notify people? Where the distributions may go? Who received the distribution if the additional party received a distribution or payment? Don't you got to report that? But they try, oh man, you can't report you can't update your tax status. What are you talking about? Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. We got a bunch of trustees that reach out that they come in with a W-2 position. They like, Trust Christian, you know what they trying to do? They trying to save some money. They working a job. All right, Trust Christian, how I do it? You gotta go 1099. They end up pulling it off. You don't even know how many trustees pull off 1099 with their business, with their jobs. They just tell the job like, I need to pull off 1099. Yeah, they need to pull off 1099. That dictates the strategy. The strategy dictates the structure. Their tax strategy, their positioning now, they're going 1099, right? Right. They're going in to put themselves in a position, a strategy, so they can utilize business structures, the proper business structures, the proper trust structure or otherwise, to manage the family estate properly. Appreciate everybody for tuning live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning live, listening to replay. Great. Check the chat. See if anybody typed any questions into the chat. Feel free to type any questions that you have into the chat. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. Want to do a very quick episode here about this whole strategy versus trust structure. There a lot of people, they sitting here talking that stuff, and they don't want to hear that though. They don't want to hear that. Yeah, you actually have to think about your strategy. What are your goals? That will dictate the outline and the actual structure and the framework itself. So we appreciate you all for tuning live, listening, replay. Always appreciate everybody tunes in live, listening, replay. Feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you all. Peace and joy.